Ladies and gentlemen, Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another edition of Classic Live Album War. Did you guys miss me? I know it's been a couple days. I missed all of you. All right, I was busy down there in Washington, D.C. for the last couple days. Had very little time to myself, and I was thinking, well, maybe I can squeeze in a little video somewhere along the way, but man, it just wasn't meant to be. It wasn't meant to be. They were keeping me busy, right? But I'm back. It's Thursday morning. Thanks for spending a couple minutes of your breakfast hour with us, all right? Or maybe you're fresh into the office, or maybe you work night shift or whatever, and you're just getting up, or whatever it might be, okay? We got some Southern rock live albums today to talk about. I saw some of the comments on the Facebook page. People were like anticipating this one, so we're finally getting around to it today. So we've got one from 82, one from 85, two very prominent acts on the Southern rock scene in the late 70s and the early mid-80s. We've got Highway Song live from Blackfoot, a single disc set, also a single LP set. All right, and on the other end of the boxing ring, we've got Double Trouble live from the mighty Molly Hatchet, originally released as a double LP, squeezed onto a single LP. In fact, I think they took a track or two off of the CD or off the LP track list to kind of make it fit onto one disc. They should have just done the damn double disc set, right? That's the way it should be. No omitting stuff. You can only add stuff. The only cool thing is to add stuff. Don't take stuff out, right? So let's start off with the first one. Okay, Ricky Medlock and Company. This is kind of a rip-roaring. It's not kind of. It is a rip-roaring set that pulls together like a lot of really, really cool tunes. Some of the best tunes from their discography up to that point. Okay, and again, you know, we've talked a lot about how live albums a lot of times kind of symbolize or close the door on one aspect of a band's career and get ready for another one. So kind of not much different here. So, you know, we're almost getting ready for the Ken Hensley in Blackfoot, okay, era. All right, Ken Hensley, obviously the former keyboard player and guitar player from Uriah Heep, who joins these guys not long afterwards, kind of the sound of the band changes a little bit from that moment on, a little more commercial, but here you still got the kind of rip-snorting, furious Southern rock that the band were known for, of course, in the band at the time. Ricky Medlock, lead vocals, lead and rhythm guitars, Jackson Thunderfoot Spires, drums and vocals, Greg T. Walker, bass guitar and vocals, Charlie Hargret on lead and rhythm guitars, probably the classic version of Blackfoot. And some of the tunes on here, great ones, right? Gimme, 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 kicking it all off. What a great tune. Every Man Should Know, Little Queenie, great song, great version on here. The crushingly heavy Good Morning. I mean, some of these tunes are like some of the heaviest Southern rock tracks ever. Okay, Dry County, another great tune. Rollin' and Tumblin', all right, the old classic blues track. Fly Away, great melodic song. Anthem, Road Fever, another crankin' heavy tune. Trouble in Mind. Train, one of their more notable tunes. Another great rendition on here. Then, of course, you got the gorgeous extended Highway Song with all sorts of lead guitar work, basically Blackfoot's version, you know, Blackfoot's Freebird. Every Southern rock band had their own kind of Freebird tune for the most part. And then Ho Way the Lads kind of finishes it all off, right? A little kind of coda there. Amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. A band at pretty much the height of their powers, and it's funny, we've got a lot of folks who follow us here on YouTube and also follow us on the Facebook page, and we have a lot of folks from the UK who watch this channel, and a lot of folks on the Facebook page talking about how they used to go see Blackfoot all the time live in the UK during the 80s. In fact, this live album is taken from shows from the UK that year in 1982. All right, over on the other end of the ring, we've got Double Trouble live from Molly Hatchet. Okay, so this is mid-80s. This is right around the time where the kind of peak of the popularity of Molly Hatchet's starting to die down a little bit, right? You got some studio albums that they're cranking out that, you know, maybe not as big sellers as some of the earlier stuff. This comes hot on the heels of the Deed Is Done tour. Okay, this was recorded in Jacksonville, Florida, all right, their hometown, as well as Dallas, Texas. Danny Joe Brown, kind of fresh back in the band. He had been out of the band for a couple of years, right? Replaced by Big Jimmy Farrar, right, for the Beating the Odds album, and the album that comes after that, which I'm drawing a blank on. Is that The Deed Is Done? No. forget the name of the album, all right? But again, originally a 2 LP set, all right? Danny Joe's back in the band after he was doing the Danny Joe Brown thing for a couple of years, right? While he was out of Hatchet, Tyler's dropping toys at my feet. She wants to play ball. Now's not the time, my dear. Daddy's got to work. I'll be with you shortly. Kicking it all off with Whiskey Man. Don't you play that hand no more, right? Bounty Hunter. Gator Country. And Flirting with Disaster. Right there. Side 1 of the LP. Killer. Killer, killer, killer. Starts things off with a bang, all right? Side 2, Stone in Your Heart. Satisfied Man, which is kind of like a little bit of a hit single for them. Bloody Reunion. And Boogie No More. So you got the first LP, right? First slice of vinyl on this set. What do you got for me there, baby? Yeah, I know. Hold on, guys. Can I have your ball, please? Can I have it? Here you go. Good girl. Side 3. Freebird. All right, that's my first little questionable part of this album. And I know that the Danny Joe Brown band was playing Freebird, when they were touring, but he kind of brought that back with him to back to Hatchet. And granted, it's a good version, but I just don't know why Molly Hatchet is playing Freebird's Epic. They didn't need to, right? Walk on the Side of the Angels follows Walk With You. Okay, another cover tune. Side 4 has Dreams I'll Never See, or better known as Dreams. Obviously, the Allman Brothers Band classic. Again, do you really need to be playing that? All right. Edge of Sundown. All right. Great tune. Danny Joe Brown band played that all the time. Fall of the Peacemakers. That's basically Molly Hatchet's Freebird, which is why you don't need that and a Lynyrd Skynyrd cover song in your set, in my opinion. Beating the Odds. Nuka, what's going on? Nuka never comes on camera. This is Nuka, by the way, if you guys can see her. Beating the Odds finishes out the set in snarling fashion. Actually, Danny Joe singing it pretty good. Pretty good. You know, we got all the dogs coming in here today. Overall, a very strong live album. I'm just, I've always kind of questioned the track list a little bit, right? Just questioned a little bit. In my opinion, and again, maybe it's because mid-'80s, Hatchet's popularity is starting to wane a little bit. Let's throw in some popular covers, right? And maybe kind of beef things up a little bit. I don't know. Didn't think they needed it. Because quite frankly, they had a lot of other strong material that could have gone on here in place of the Allman's cover and the Skynyrd cover. While they're cool, right? Come on, guys. You got great material on your own. You didn't need to do that. So, for my money, as we always do on these shows, we're looking to find out everyone's favorite live album of all time. We got to vote on these. All right. Geez, we got all sorts of commotion here today. We got to vote on these, right? So, I'm going to base my pick on which one I prefer. I'm going to ask you guys to do the same. I'm going to go with Blackfoot. Even though, this probably could have been a great double. As a single release, it kicks ass, and I think this was released as a double. Might have been better as a single, or, take out some of the covers and add some more original tunes. I don't know. Either way, though, both strong. I love them both. But I just think this is like Blackfoot at the peak of their powers. It's very well produced. It sounds great. It kicks ass. Kicks ass. The guitars are on full throttle in your face. I mean, it doesn't get much better than this. I know I say that all the time. But as far as like a great Southern rock live album, this one is top shelf. Top shelf, Ricky Medlock and company. So, that's it. And, you know the drill. Upper right-hand corner, little white circle with a letter I in it. Click that, vote for Molly Hatchet or Blackfoot in this particular live album war here. Which one you prefer. Put some comments and feedback down below. Let us know why you like the one you like, or why you don't like the one you don't like, or why you don't like either one of them, or whatever. It doesn't really matter. Remember, there's no right or wrong here. It's all a matter of preference, what we like, so respect everybody's opinion, okay, because that's what it's all about. And we'll see which one advances to round 2. So we're coming towards the end of round 1. We still have a bunch more to get to. Probably is going to take us through at least another week, maybe a little more, but I have got a good amount still left to go. But we should be kind of finalizing this now that I'm back from my trips, all right, and there's none in the immediate future. I can get back to doing the 2 per day, and I can probably knock these out if I do them every day, probably the next week, week and a half tops. And then what I'll do is I will put together the bracket for round 2, put all the matchups together. All right, I'll let everybody know, and I'll do this when round 1 is completely done. I will let everybody know of all the winners. You're not going to know what the next matchups are, but you're going to know who all the winners are. And then I'll start putting the matchups together, and we'll start this all over again until we eventually get to the number 1. Okay? So we've had some interesting winners. We've had some surprises along the way. There's been quite a few. There's now been a good handful of matchups that I'm actually very surprised at the outcomes. And now that we've got the voting going on the YouTube channel as well, it's interesting to see, because in most instances, the Facebook poll generally matches the YouTube poll. But in a couple of cases it has not, and it was the absolute complete opposite, which just means to me sometimes, I sometimes wonder, we've got a wide audience here. We've got fans of hard rock and fans of metal and fans of prog and jazz and all that kind of stuff, because we cover so many different genres of music here, that I think sometimes we might have more hard rock and metal fans who are loyal to the Facebook page, right? But on the same token, we have a lot more maybe kind of prog or kind of less metal, more hard rock people who follow the YouTube channel more closely but don't have Facebook accounts. So a lot of times I'm seeing, like, if I do a matchup and one band's a little heavier than the other, I'm seeing more votes for the heavier band on Facebook and more votes for the less heavier act on YouTube, if that makes any sense. So that's kind of, it's kind of leading me to make some assumptions about what the bulk of the people voting are on each side, right? So, but it's interesting. But in most cases, I would say 90% of the cases, what we see on each is pretty consistent. But every now and then I'm seeing complete opposites, which is cool, right? It's what it's all about. So I'm glad we can kind of capture all this stuff. So again, Blackfoot versus Molly Hatchet. Cast your vote. We'll see you again later today. I've got another good one coming up later today. In fact, I need to kind of reacquaint myself with one of these releases, because I haven't listened to it in quite some time, but I know it's damn good. I know we always liked it. So that'll be coming up later. Also, don't touch that dial, because we're going to today give you a quick little tribute to Ginger Baker. All right, so stay tuned for that. Visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter. Of course, we're here on YouTube every day. We'll see you later, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.